Hey there, this is Perch, and somebody asked a question. What's the most annoying comic that you've ever gotten and tried to sell and put on the shelves? What's the comic and what's the most annoying comic? And I'm not sure exactly, where they were coming from. Are they talking about the story was annoying or the art? But I'm gonna just take a stab at physically. What's the most annoying uh, comic and probably comic gimmick cover? Production, whatever, that is the most annoying one to put on the shelf. So let me kind of this will be a short little video. Maybe this will bring back some memories, or maybe it's just a waste of time. But in the '90s, there were a great number of cover gimmicks, and that was because somebody and I do not know where the origin of it all came from. I know that polybagged was one of the early ones, but then you had die cut comics, and you had foil comics, and you had covers with pop up. You had a pop flip, and you had a lot of different embossed covers. You had a little bit of everything. And for a while, people were coming in and saying, "I need 3 copies of that, foil copy comic." Or then, once I had a guy come in who's like, "I'll buy 50 copies of this Ghost Rider title here with the bullet holes in it." No, Punisher. Sorry, it was Punisher Warzone. It had bullet holes in the cover. The guy's like, "I need 50 copies of that because that's going to be worth a ton of money." And I'm handing it over like, "Yeah, it won't though, but here you go." I mean, it's a fine title. I mean, I like it. It's John Romita Jr. art, Romita Jr. art, and it was I like the title. I thought it was a good comic, but you're out of your mind for buying 50 of them, thinking they're going to suddenly be worth all kinds of money. The funny thing about collectors is I often wonder, and you've had this moment where people come in and they're smiling and they've got their comics and they've got less lately, but they've got their armful of various variant covers, Ghost Rider glow in the dark cover, and all this stuff, and they're like, "I'm here to sell them all," and you're like, I'm not gonna buy. I'm not in the, I don't have money to buy. Sorry. And then their face of like wall wall. And I'm not meaning to make fun of it because I think collector trade is a very important and valuable part of comics, but I wonder. I just kind of wonder what people are thinking when they show up and they buy 50 titles of something that any true comic fan can tell you that's not going to be issue of the year. And then I mean, is it like a bank? They think they're going to just return in like 6 months and take their profit. It's not. I don't know. That's not how shops work. There's plenty of shops, including me, who will buy titles all the time. But it's not like it's an open bank to just buy things. But anyway, but I digress. So annoying comics. Well, if bagged comics, polybagged comics are frustrating because they're easy to rip. Not always have those been put into the boxes by Diamond with care. It seemed like I can't remember Death of Superman. I do not remember damaged bags. It may have been there, but I remember some scuffing on the front, which collector will watch out for. But generally, the bag's intact. But polybag comics, they're prone to tearing. You put them on the shelf. They sit there kind of awkwardly at times. If you're going to try and put that polybagged comic into a bag and board, then you have new problems, and that's so it's an awkward comic to deal with, not pleasant. But not the worst thing in the world. It gets harder when the comic is polybagged with something. Like trading card is fine, but who did it? They put like a thicker, almost like a notepad, like a smaller, thicker thing in there, and it's just now you've got an unwieldy bagged comic with some junk in there. It's probably ripping the pages to shreds inside, but you're now putting that into a bag. It's annoying for everybody. And then you have you have die cut comics, so those always are tricky because the little die cut, if not careful, will stick to the comic in front of it. And one comic company, and I want to say Malibu, back before they went away, they had die cut on the front and the back, like a torn cover style. And that was a terrible idea because now when you stack those comics up, the die cuts interlocking with the comic in front and behind it, and you're getting this chain of titles and that get bent and ripped. And the thing about any kind of variant cover, or not variant, but specialized cover, is that collectors who are buying them are looking for the absolute pristine, no folds, no tears, no nothing. They want that variant cover to look perfect. I keep saying variant cover, but I don't mean that. Gimmick cover is what I should be saying. They want that gimmick cover to look perfect. And so when it's printed in such a way that's going to encourage, rips and tears and folds and all the rest, scuffs, then that's not helpful to anybody. And that's what, unfortunately, it's a lot of gimmick comics, that what they do. And so that's why they're annoying. Embossing and foil both have to be done well. And here's another case where in the 90s, most of those were done fairly well with some very notable exceptions. The Ghost Rider glow in the dark one was not done well, but people thought it was. So the issues with the glow in the dark were not immediately apparent when you go and put your comic under light, and then you did the glow in the dark. It wasn't, first of all, it wasn't the best glow in the dark printing that was done there, and second, it showed scuffs and scratches and things very, very rapidly. Cool as hell. I mean, Texera, very, very cool title. Really, a lot of these titles look cool, and so they win and succeed on that basis, but they're just a pain to stock, and a pain. And I'd imagine any of the things that are annoying for me, taking them out of a box, putting them on the shelf, etc. That annoyance is getting carried over to the poor collector who's then taking it home and putting it into a long box. Hopefully, they're just getting it bag boarded and hidden away, and then it's done and it's out of our hands. The hologram covers, first of all, never worked fairly well, including the new ones. What do they call it? Marvel Legacy covers. It most of them did not work well. The cover, it didn't achieve the effect. And then there was a series of gimmick covers where they printed like a little foil hologram card onto the cover, or they kind of glued it on there. And there was the foil card version and the non-foil card version with an awkward kind of just either a blank spot or kind of still art for the non-version. Those were another one that, if you put that comic on top of another comic, or you put it in a stack, and you just kind of, there was any kind of shift in movement, air kind of went on it hard, then you would have instant scuffing, and then you get this scratched up hologram. So those are always annoying. I think as a when you're putting them on the shelves as a store, then you've got to it's like defusing a bomb. You're holding it very gingerly. You're very lightly kind of putting it on the shelf, hoping it doesn't blow up and instantly lose its value. And so nobody wants that kind of stress in their life, even though they look cool. That's frustrating. It's just one of the more one of the reasons why it could Diamond offer, we'll just ship them to you bagged and boarded, and or that would be great. Just take let take this hard thing out of my hands. There are many gimmick covers today, but those are always frustrating. The little ash cans. It was always like, well, what am I going to do with this? So it's an awkward size, doesn't fit on the shelf well, and doesn't fit in a bag and board well, unless you go buy very specialized stuff. And I was surprised to learn there were specialized kind of bags and boards for ash can titles that you can get your hands on. But they're hard to deal with as a store. They're just anything that is different from the norm when you're dealing with 1,000 comics that are going up on the shelves every week that creates friction, and friction is a pain to deal with. But if they're going to sell, then hey, you get over that friction pretty quickly. If it's something that's going to move out the door, that's always a good thing. So anyway, there's my little short bit on annoying things to stock and sell. Hope you found that enjoyable. Hope in your mind you had some good memories of some gimmick covers that you were suckered. I mean, you happily bought back in the day, and have a it's one of those things that a lot of people like nostalgia. And so every now and then the publishers dip into it by doing one of these titles. But it's too much nostalgia is not a good thing either. So you have to find that balance. A few gimmick covers every now and then, probably kind of fun. Too much kind of spoils the whole soup, so to speak. So anyway, go ahead, and if you like what you heard, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. Tell a friend, and click the bell for notification if you'd like to do that. If you'd like to be notified when new videos come out, they're coming out pretty daily, so you'll get and you can crack the mysterious code of when they come out. Hey, secret, they come out about 7:30 a.m. Pacific time every single week. And that's because I set them up to automatically go out at that time. So don't tell anyone. But there you go. There's a secret. And hey, give me some suggestions. Chat me up in the comments. Would love to talk to you, or over on Twitter at Comic Perch. And have a great day.